A weary Janiyah rises to face yet another long, grueling day in her difficult life. At the beginning of the film, we come to know that Janiyah's young daughter, Aria, is not well. As Janiyah helps Aria get ready for school, we see that she suffers from sudden seizures and requires medication to keep them under control. Just the day before, she had fallen while taking a bath due to one such seizure, which left her with a painful bruise on her back. Despite Aria's insistence that she can manage bathing alone, her mother remains fearful and cannot bring herself to leave Aria unattended. During their conversation that morning, Aria pleads with her mother for $40. Her teacher had rebuked her for bringing a special lunch rather than using her own lunch money and criticized the unhealthy food, which Aria should avoid for the sake of her condition. Janiyah, feeling guilty and desperate to provide even the most basic needs, promises to deliver the money before lunch, even if it means arriving late to work. Meanwhile, the landlady, holding an eviction notice, is herself in a desperate financial position and demands immediate payment of rent. She warns Janiyah that if payment is not made, she will throw away all their belongings. Janiyah, unable to negotiate better terms, assures the landlady she'll bring the money after receiving her paycheck at noon. After dropping Aria off at school, Janiyah hurries to her job at a local grocery store. Her boss, already irritated by her chronic tardiness, shows no empathy despite her difficult situation. It's clear from their interaction that he has little concern for her well-being. The only person who offers her any kindness is a concerned co-worker who seems to notice her pain. Just as Janiyah starts to settle into work, the school call. Aria's school urgently requests her presence, and though her boss resents her abrupt departure, he agrees to let her go on the condition that she returns within 30 minutes. Janiyah rushes out, though she knows she may not make it back in time. With only $47 in her bank account, she attempts to withdraw $40 across the street, but the bank refuses, citing a minimum balance requirement. When Janiyah finally reaches Aria's school, her nightmare continues. Social services have taken her daughter. The teacher had alerted them, concerned that Janiyah was not capable of properly caring for Aria. Janiyah is crushed. On her way back, matters get worse when her small car is hit by another vehicle. To her shock, the driver is a police officer, and rather than holding him accountable, Janiyah is blamed. She receives a ticket and must get her car towed, adding further stress and financial burden. 2 hours late for work, Janiyah is fired on the spot. Her boss tells her she'll have to wait for her paycheck to arrive by mail, denying her any immediate help. When she returns home, she finds the apartment emptied by the landlady. Her daughter's medicine and science project among the lost items. Though the prosecution may try to use the bomb as evidence, it was never actually detonated. More importantly, it turned out to be her daughter's science project, further proving Janiyah never intended to hurt anyone. She was overwhelmed, heartbroken, and trying to survive a day that had spiraled into chaos. In the end, she had lost everything: her child, her job, her car, her home, and her hope. A reduced sentence or even a transfer to a mental institution might be the best path forward for Janiyah. It would give her the time and environment she needs to heal. Janiyah spent her final moments in the bank, desperately pleading with manager Nicole to look after her daughter Aria. Even in the face of arrest, she begged her to keep Aria safe. Nicole, deeply affected by Janiyah's plea, promised to visit Aria in prison. According to actor Tyler Perry, who helped bring the film to life, Nicole's reaction was powerful. When Janiyah walked into the bank carrying the weight of the world, it shook Nicole out of her safe suburban bubble. Janiyah was a real raw person, and Nicole saw that. But there was one heartbreaking reason Nicole would never visit Aria. The next morning, Janiyah's mother delivered the devastating news. Aria had passed away during the night due to a seizure. The grief that consumed Janiyah was unbearable. She began to hallucinate, imagining Aria was still with her. The loss broke her. She couldn't bring herself to face reality. Tyler Perry noted that the twist that Aria had been dead all along was just as shocking to the cast as it will be to the audience. He described the experience of filming that scene as emotional for everyone on set. He said, "When I saw the footage, I burst into tears. I know the audience will feel the same." The film's strength lies heavily in Taraji P. Henson's performance. As Janiyah, she delivers a raw, award-worthy portrayal of a single mother pushed to the brink. Through monologues and expression, Henson paints a vivid picture of a woman woman drowning in misfortune, one who desperately wanted to do the right thing but was failed by everyone around. Desperate and broken, Janiyah goes back to plead for her paycheck. As she begs, two armed men burst into the store and hold her and her boss at gunpoint. During the chaos, Janiyah recognizes that one of the men is trying to take her daughter's science project. In a moment of panic and fierce maternal instinct, she grabs a gun and shoots the robber. Instead of thanking her, her boss accuses her of being involved in the robbery. When he dials 911, Janiyah, overwhelmed and broken, shoots and kills him. Clutching her paycheck, Janiyah crosses the street to the bank. When the teller asks for ID, Janiyah claims it was stolen and brandishes her pistol, trying to scare the teller into compliance. The teller, misinterpreting the situation, triggers the silent alarm. Now, in addition to being a suspect in her boss's murder, Janiyah is also considered a bank robber. Things only spiral further. Janiyah has lost nearly everything: her daughter, her job, her home, and now her freedom. But the worst blow comes next. Aria, taken by social services, dies following a mass seizure. Janiyah initially hides the truth, choosing instead to hallucinate Aria's presence as a way of coping. This fragile denial shatters when her mother calls, forcing her to confront the overwhelming grief. Facing charges for murder and kidnapping, Janiyah's path to prison appears inevitable. Typically, her crimes would warrant a life sentence without the possibility of parole. However, her defense argues that Janiyah's actions stemmed from severe emotional and psychological distress. Numerous witnesses attest that Janiyah had been acting irrationally since the beginning of that day. Her mental instability, compounded by the trauma and a series of escalating misfortune, might influence the court's judgment. In the end, Janiyah is portrayed not simply as a criminal, but as a deeply wounded mother caught in a relentless storm of circumstances beyond her control. Janiyah's mental instability and the unexpected robbery will likely serve as critical points in her defense. Though the death of her boss complicates matters, her lack of intent to rob the bank can be proven. Despite her threatening behavior, her only goal was to collect a paycheck of around $500. The check was literally on the table. Had it been about money, she could have looted much more. Instead, she simply took her salary. When the anxious bank teller placed the money in front of her, Janiyah could have taken it, but she didn't. She scolded the woman and insisted she only wanted her check. Though she did hold people at gunpoint, at least one of those hostages is likely to testify in her favor due to the overwhelming sympathy they felt for her. Even the police noted how easily she released the hostages, offering them chairs to help them feel at ease. When she learned one of them was diabetic, she let her go without hesitation and expressed deep regret for putting her in danger. However, the film is not without its flaws. Some of the plot elements feel forced or illogical. The series of misfortune, though meant to build urgency, becomes somewhat predictable. For example, Janiyah being blamed for a robbery she stopped feels like an extreme stretch. The film's ending also divides opinion. Though it elicits sympathy, the final tonal shift can feel like a letdown, leaving audiences unsettled rather than resolved. Additionally, the production design has been criticized for looking with uninspired set pieces and costumes that fail to elevate the grounded, emotional core of the story. Despite this, Sherry Shepherd's performance as Nicole stands out. Her compassion and internal conflict are portrayed with subtlety and grace, balancing the emotional heaviness brought by Henson's character. In the end, Mea Culpa is more than just a tale of tragedy. It's a harrowing look at how a society stacked against the vulnerable can push a good person to the edge. It asks difficult questions about justice, mental health, and the human cost of indifference. And even though it falters in execution, its emotional impact lingers long after the credits roll.